Alright, what's up, y'all? I guess we're going no capo because that's kind of the point of showing this. Today's the 9th of February, 2025. My name is Evan Strong. This is Frank the Guitar. This is In The Image Clothing Company music. The reason his name is Frank the Guitar, though, is because it's short for Frankenstein. It's kind of thrown together. It's a Yamaha CGS 102A, but I put a custom radius in it. And up until now, since I think the first day I had him, I put a shim underneath the saddle and underneath the nut. And the shim under the nut was this. Part of my, well, I don't know for sure what year, actually. I think it was junior high school ID card that I cut up and I stuck under here. And I just took it out and it's a little buzzing on that G and B, but these strings are also nowhere near new at this point, so yeah, and you can hear the strings aren't new. And so, you know, if I were to get new strings, which I will sometime, it would sound even better, but he works great. I don't know what I'm playing half the time when I'm up the neck like that, but yeah, it feels great. I think mostly I just wanted to kind of share. Also, I want to apologize publicly for hurting my own thumb. I was pushing the nut, trying to get it right in where I thought it should be after I had tension on the strings, and I hurt my thumb. You know, just take care of your body. We are In The Image Clothing Company. That's the whole point, is allowing the body to work. And sometimes we do some things out of haste, right? We're trying to get things done in our timing. And really the point is I was trying to align it more than maybe it needs to be. We'll see. If I mess with it a little bit, then I do. But as far as moving the nut side to side. But it works with no shim. Because what happened is when I first got Frank, I shaved down the nut quite a bit to get that action lower. And I went just a little bit too far at first, but also the strings that were on it were thinner when I first got Frank the guitar. So, yeah, I put the shim under there, and ideally we don't have any shims underneath the nut because that's wanting to be rested nice and flush against the wood of the headstock and against the top wood of the fretboard like that. But times and places, and so I've been playing anything open chords without the capo. I keep reaching for my capo because I've been using it so much. But right, the capo you put on and it clamps it, and then you play from there. I've been playing with the capo so much since I got that capo. My mom bought it for me. That, you know, I haven't played much open string stuff, and part of it was that I didn't really want to because it was pretty high action. That's what they call the action of a guitar, is when, you know, the spacing between the strings and the frets, like this. You can hear that little bit of play there. That's the action. They normally measure it somewhere around like the 12th fret. Close to right in here, you measure how much space there is between there. And, you know, you want it pretty low, but if you go too low, you get a little bit of this. And this has it, but that's fine. It really is fine with me. Some of that's personal preference. Some people play their entire, like, guitar playing life with some fret buzz just there. and some people do all they can to not have any, but I'm fine with it, especially because once I get a newer set of strings, well, I'll get a new set and put it on when that happens. There'll be some more tension in the strings, and they'll also be a little bit, not that they'll be thicker, but they'll be like worn less, because I've loosened these strings and tightened them quite a few times, and as you do that, you slide it through the slots of the nut. And so even just this little bit of buzz here, I'm okay with, because when you're actually playing, you don't notice it so much, and it's going to go away to a degree at least. If there's still some, there's still some, but when I do get new strings, and then we'll you know, cross that bridge when we come to it. If there's something else I do, maybe use a shim that's just smaller, you know, whatever whatever comes from there. Ideally no shim, and I think we'll get away with not using anything more than what's here now, which is nothing underneath the nut. So anyway, kind of a discussion, kind of a documentation of Frank the guitar's current state, and also everything that I've played up until this point has been this much higher off the fretboard than it is now, and so it's a lot easier to play with lower action. And that might be all that I was going to say, or that I will say, but oh, it feels great. A little bit out of tune, because I took almost all the tension out of the strings so that I could move the nut over and slip that shim that I made out of there. So, you know, the strings have to stretch, and then they have to stretch a little bit more, and then a little bit more back to their regular full tension once you tune it back up. So it's a little bit out of tune. I'll tune them up real quick. At least close enough. We'll play through something. I also did just a little bit of adjustment just with my fingernails, thumbnails, in the slot of that high E to kind of give it that subtle rounding. Because it was pretty, it wasn't as round as I wanted it on the high E, to kind of match a little bit better with the bottom, right? The rounding, the custom radius that I've done within Frank the guitar here. What should I play through? Just, you know, something fun, something cool. I just love picking around through chords, so. That high E feels different to me than it did before. I think a lot of it's my hand. Well, also it is just like I said, I did do adjustments to it, and that's good. You know, the hand rounds off to the pinky, right? I mean, there's rounding to our hands. As I always discuss, if you've ever heard anything from Evan Strong through In the Image Clothing Company music, I am Evan Strong. I always talk about the rounding, and you know, the pinky finger is going to be over here. You rarely ever use your pinky for any other string besides, you know, the ones farthest to the treble side, the highest strings, because that's just where it's going to be, right? The other fingers can reach. And so because of that, you know, it's kind of just like grabbing something like this. You want that pinky to come down, because that's how it's going to be naturally working, like in a G chord, right? And then that pinky drops like that, and then that travels through the rest of your body. So I did do some adjustments to that E, right, just slightly, but I can feel it. I can even feel it here on my ring finger, which is the one that I'm using in like a D chord here. I'll make a D chord, and then I'll place my pinky there a lot of the time. Like I'll play with the pinky, and then if I take the pinky away, pinky's there, well, it just feels like I can really grip the guitar well, because that's what you want. You want to just use your hand as we would use our hands in any other time in our lives. And right, there we go. It rounds down, as I always show, like it's wrapping around the thumb. It's just how the hand works. And so that little bit of rounding down on the high E feels so much better. Ideally, it's rounding on both sides, you know, and my low E is very slightly lower, I'd say, than the strings next to it. So, anyway, shout out to Korg. No idea, but it's just, there's a brand on this tuner, and you probably got in the video, so cool. Whoever made this tuning machine here, it's Korg. Now, it's amazing the amount of difference that something that small can make. So anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna be shocked myself how much easier it is to play Frank the guitar from this point forward with everything that I do play, because he's never been set up this well. And I say that each time that I do things, but it's the case. And I'm gonna have to get used to things, and yeah, just have to get used to stuff as you do adjustments, but it's got that little bit of buzz. It's fine. It's fine, and I want to say it's more than fine, because in some ways I like that. It gives it like a style type of sound. A little bit of like a, I don't know what word to say about it, but it does. Especially playing stuff like minor chords. A little bit of buzziness. Some people like it. Some people actually intentionally have it. So anyway, Frank the Guitar on the 9th of February, 2025 is the biggest thing with this. A little bit of documentation. Also, there's stuff that you can learn from just the way that I discussed certain things about the setup and everything. So, yeah. If you know me, as I kind of said earlier, Evan Strong from In The Image Clothing Company, you know, I will say till the day I die, because it's just the case, it's just the truth, it's just how it is. Setup is so much more important than practice. And so that's kind of what I was meaning when I said I myself will be so surprised. I'm certain of it, that I will just be able to play so much better, be so much more comfortable this way and everything than Frank has been, since he's had that shim under there, and just the, you know, little tiny slight adjustments that I do in anything at any time with this guitar. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's no buzz up here at all. It's just mostly on that G and that B on the open strings, so that's fine. Like in a real way, like I'm entirely fine with it. be a lifelong journey of tweaking guitars, even the same one, even if it's really, really good. There might always be something really, really small you can do to make it even better. And so, right, I mean, I've tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked the setup of Frank the guitar. So we'll see, right? Just, we'll see if I ever have a guitar in my entire life where I actually get to a point where I'm like, yeah, I'll never do anything to this guitar again. I don't know. I mean, that might not be the case. So, anyway. Anyway, there's no reason to say this for any obligation other than I want to. I had a Cordoba C5 CE and it was amazing. Shout out to Cordoba. No affiliation, nor have I ever up until this point had affiliation with Cordoba, the guitar brand. But I had a Cordoba C5 CE. I loved it so much. It was actually my first nylon string classical guitar, although it's too wide for the hands. As I say, it's not my opinion, but just for the sake of the human body, if we want our bodies to operate naturally, the fretboard on full-sized classical guitars is just too large for human beings. It is just too large. And the length as well, you're reaching out like this, and you see classical guitarists like this, and their shoulders are just taking a beating because their hands are so far open and stretched away from their center line of their body. So, yeah, I mean, our whole company, meaning the basis of what our company really is here in the Image Clothing Company, is allowing the human body to work. So we get into the anatomy, we understand how the body really does work in its natural state, the only way that it actually works. But I will say that that's the reason I'm mentioning that Cordoba C5 CE, is because I did love it so much, and it was set up wonderfully. It had really low action in a good way. And it was what I did to it after months and months of tweaking and working with things. But Frank the guitar here is not how you will ever purchase from the factory a Yamaha CGS 102A, which is what he is. He has a custom radius. That's something that my Cordoba did not have, nor did this when I first got it. But I could have radiused the fretboard of that Cordoba, but it still would have been too wide for my hands, right? And so, and you can kind of hear it, even just doing that, even just separating my fingers, you could hear it in my voice, and my shoulders will drop, and the hands just work in line and they work together. So, Frank the guitar here is beautiful. Shout out to Yamaha as well. No affiliation, at least as of today's date. But maybe one day in the future, because I do love this guitar. They've done an amazing job building this. Even though it is their quote unquote cheaper, because monetary value wise, definitely it is a much cheaper guitar than a lot of their guitars. I think you can get it for somewhere between $150, $170 US currently, new. So yeah, but it's amazing. It's the size that I use, half-sized guitar, and after radius, after the putting the radius in and doing the adjustments that I have done to it, especially even after this, I mean, it's like I said, just getting progressively better. So for me personally, yeah, it's a great guitar. So, context, like I said, for this video specifically, context is what I said. The strings are something that have been on and off many times, and he still does have a shim under the saddle, which I'm not planning on changing, but that is one thing that is different. And so, he's amazing. This is Frank the guitar. He's got some artiste work on it, just a Sharpie. I drew some things, wrote some things, made him how I want him to be. And this is Frank the guitar. I think that's probably what this video is going to be titled, is Frank the Guitar on the 9th of February 2025, something similar to that, just, you know, mostly documentation. Because I am a good guitarist, as I've said. I'm not afraid of sounding overly boastful, because I'm also not in any way going to, like, say that, like, oh, I'm not so good, because I'm good, you know? I mean, that's the whole thing. That's why we have a whole third of our company that is In The Image Clothing Company Music, because what comes with me being good at guitar is not only my ability to play, but I'm also so knowledgeable about guitars because of all the experience that I have had within setups and things like that. So I like to say that just to be transparent, to not be all fake humble, because um, I know that you know, the level of good that I am at playing guitar currently will just get better as I continue to practice and just play, right? Playing is really what practicing is. And, or like the best way to practice is just to play what you want, just to mess around with the guitar and have fun in the way that you want to do it. And so I think it'll be good. Like I said, I'll probably title this with a date in it. And then just as we go forward through this life that we live together, we'll be able to kind of look back on this and see the progression that I had. And then this video can be in itself like you know, an advocate for me being an advocate for setups, if that makes sense. I just kind of want to word it almost silly, because just I'm so huge on, it doesn't matter how tiny the tweak seems to be in the setup. If you're tweaking something and it's helping, then it's maybe helping like on a level that is massive, when it might not seem like you've really done very much physically to adjust it, but it could be huge in the in what it does to actually help your playing and your emotional state when it comes to, you know, approaching playing an instrument as well. The least amount of resistance that there is between you and the instrument, the most joy and comfort and contentment and time that you can continue to play. That's, you know, that's what we want, is just to be able to play all day without cramping, without getting emotionally involved in ways we don't need to, you know, and worked up over things. Everything we do within In The Image Clothing Company is to allow the body to just work with the absolute least restriction that we can, and deepening our own understandings of our own physical body's only function. And so that's what we do, and that's a big thing of what I've shown within this video here. So yeah, he might be out of tune. I think I will take the time to tune him at least pretty well close to in tune, and I'll just play through some stuff here for, if it's a few seconds, if it's a few minutes, whatever, but I'm going to tune it real quick, just keep it rolling. And like I said, just pretty close. I mean, I'm not getting it exactly in tune, but I just kind of want to play through some stuff. As I said, I will put the date within this title of this video, and this video is more just like a me sitting here talking, kind of, you know, having some explanation about the current state of Frank the guitar, and me personally within In The Image Clothing Company Music, where we're at. Some context of up until this point I've been playing with this shim, you know, things like that. It's kind of a time capsule video, really cool for me personally. And so just kind of play through, I don't even know what, because I don't play that much variety of stuff. I'm normally within like a D chord, a G chord, a C chord, and then like the chords that are similar to them. Like I don't even know what they're called right now, right? I mean, there's this G chord, and then you move your fingers up and you're here. I play those two all the time. And then like you take a C chord and you move these two fingers up one string like this, right? And then I can shred through a lot of that with finger picking. Keep in mind, I'm not quite used to any difference from what I've done within the adjustments I've made quite yet, but oh, but he feels good. Oh, yeah, really good. All right, that's what I'll play. Um, I mean, I see myself having Frank the guitar here for quite a long time. Um, so that's one of the big reasons why I'm making this video the way that I am. I'll also document, since I got him, I did buy him used. He has this, there was a crack in the base of him right here where the back wood meets the bottom part of the like side wood. And so it's been repaired, and I don't know if I'm gonna do some stuff to that, and if so, at what point, how long I go before I do something. I just don't want to like peel off the back plate somehow by, because a lot of times I'll set him like he's been through part of this, and if it scrapes, it could just rip the whole back wood off the guitar potentially. And it's not gonna happen, but so I might do more with that, and then so now the only shim that he has is under the saddle, and yeah, this is his current state. I love Frank the guitar. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be like, make any kind of promise to say I'm gonna be a world famous guitarist, but I am really good, and I'm only entirely self-taught. And so anything that anybody does end up teaching me in any way as we go, or just more practice that I do have between now and any time, and again, that practice will just be playing. It's very rare for me to ever, pretty much never have up until this point, actually sat down and be like, let me practice guitar. It's just, I'm going to pick up this thing and play it because I love to. So that's how I'm going to just approach it. But as I do that, I'll only get better, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't need to try to be fake humble about it. I know that I'm good at guitar, and I just have content within In the Image Clothing Company music, and within In the Image Clothing Company podcast. I've discussed it too quite a bit, where when I first got the first guitar I ever got, which was a couple years ago, I was saying right off the bat that I was going to play guitar for the rest of my life. Didn't really know why I was saying it. Didn't even know how to play guitar at all at that point, other than, what I had learned within like that first week. And so because of that, again, this is kind of a time capsule thing. I know I'm going to be good. I don't mean to be sounding any kind of way, other than I can see myself being really, really, really good at playing guitar. So, I know that Frank the guitar here is not what most people who think of like a really good guitar player would be playing. Like when they think about somebody who's like a professional guitarist, they probably think of them having a expensive high-end guitar, full-sized, and this is the ideal size guitar for most everybody, but I'm not trying to speak for people, although we do, because the human body only works the way that it does. And I've discussed that a lot up until, this point. But I think it's really cool. I bought him, really my mom bought him for me for Christmas, this last 2024's Christmas. And it was $88 US used. And pretty much everything else about him because I've said it within this video. So I'm not doing any of that to intentionally almost go out of my way to like break misconceptions. This is just my authentic approach to playing guitar. I mean, I've had 20 guitars, I've had $1,000 guitars, and this is the one that is the actual guitar that I need. And so, yeah, I have no like problem saying that I'm gonna be a really, really, really good guitarist. Like really good. No kind of expectation, no kind of whatever. I'm just certain that I will be. So, time capsule type video. I mean, you heard me finger picking through that, man, shredding through those 2 chords there. I mean, it just comes naturally to me. That's the big thing, is it's somewhere where my heart just lives and dwells within music, and approaching it through the guitar just happens through me. It meshes with me. It's something that I tried to give up, tried to completely just throw away. Literally, I threw guitars away. I broke guitars, sold guitars, and I came back to it. And so, and then right now it's a whole third of this company that I've now founded. So, lifelong thing, guitars and Evan Strong. So, which is me, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company, right? So this is In The Image Clothing Company music. There's reasons to that, as I was discussing, reasons why that's a whole third of our company. And Frank the guitar. I mean, if this is the only Yamaha I ever own, then okay. If I end up like playing with Yamaha, right? Like them sponsoring me for whatever reasons as we do what we do, then that's great too. Whatever end it is, and all genuine, like, just out of my own doings, shout out to Yamaha. They made this thing. They, whoever designed it over there, and whoever actually physically put this individual one together. And yeah, I like the sound of the woods, the combination of woods. This is like a type of mahogany. The back and sides, I don't know what it's called exactly, but I think it is some type of mahogany. The top spruce. And yeah, I told you the model of Frank, the guitar. So, I mean, here I am just sitting. Shout out to my grandparents. They're allowing me to just live in this house as I have for the past few years now. And I'm just sitting on the floor in this house, tinkering with this guitar for the past few months. And I don't want anybody to have the idea that if you are going to end up being a professional musician, then you have to have the high-end expensive guitars or whatever, because I'm not making promises, but I'm just, a lot of things I'm saying just because I know that it's going to happen. Watch my journey if you want, or if it's years down the road and you're finding this video and you get to look back and now it's like, oh yeah, he really did come from playing an $88 used half-sized classical guitar that he did custom things to that are pretty unconventional to put a radius in a flat fretboard guitar, so yeah, not for the intention of breaking misconceptions, but just I have a weird life compared to others, very unique naturally, and through that comes a lot of things that people can learn from, a lot of mistakes as well. But that's just as good as the successes, because you don't learn without making mistakes. I couldn't have known in the ways that I learned all that I now know about guitars without having 19 of them, and the mistakes that I made within those, the frustration that came, and breaking the guitars, like I'm saying, throwing them away, and all the things that did happen, me losing my temper over things because of physical discomfort, because of little things like what I was saying with this high E, and, just little tweaks, little stringing techniques, right? And I have my stringing technique you can find under In The Image Clothing Company music, where it's the only technique that actually will allow the hands to just work as they do without having to ever massage or work out or stretch your hands out, right? All the little nuances, all the little things that have helped me be able to found In The Image Clothing Company, that have helped me be able to understand my own physical body. And we're all universally designed, like our name says, in the image of our living God, who is Jesus Christ, as I say within the intros of things for the podcast, for the main side of In The Image Clothing Company, right? So, yeah. What I said this video will be titled is something very similar to what it's going to be titled. I didn't expect this video to even be what it is. When I started this, started recording just now, I was just going to kind of document that I pulled this shim out, and I really love time capsule type videos, things that it just feels like somebody's just sitting there talking to you, as if they're literally next to you, talking to you, as if you're sitting right in front of me and I'm just saying these things, and it's not only through video, but as if I'm like actually there. That's how I like to approach documenting things. That's how I do In The Image Clothing Company podcast. I sit there and I just kind of talk as if I'm just like in front of people, just talking to actually an audience there rather than like trying to make it something. Not that there's a problem on the other end trying to make it something, because times and places, but I do love the ability to have it just be able to be this casual and just sit on the floor with the content that I'm making. And there's a lot that people can learn from me. Truly. I mean, really. I've had so much experience in the things that I'm publicly sharing like this, and that's why I'm doing this. That's why I have settled into this company, and that's why I'm a guitarist, right? Just because I'm good at it. And just through me playing alone, through my approach to music and how it's pretty unconventional, just those things, even if I'm not actually saying words to try to teach something, just by watching me do what I do and just be naturally authentic with the way that I mesh with a guitar, that in itself can teach people things, because there are so many misconceptions of how you have to like approach something like practice and how you need to be able to play something in a certain tempo, in a certain key, in a certain cadence. You have to do it the way that somebody says. You have to have some type of technique that looks this way because somebody told you. I'm very unique in the way that I just say, hey, come at it the way that's natural. Frank the guitar right here on him says the goal is natural. We talk about that all the time within all three sides of the Image Clothing Company. So yeah, I'm just trying to lead by example, and that does mean making a lot of mistakes as well. So there we go. Time capsule, Indie Image Clothing Company music, Frank the guitar, Yamaha, shout out to them. That's written on here as well. Shout out to Yamaha, brother. So there we go. Frank the guitar. I'm gonna see if he's in tune. Actually pretty close. Yeah. Yeah. A little bit out of tune, but I love this guitar. I don't know how many times it's been within this video, but again, shout out to Yamaha. I've never had any kind of affiliation with them whatsoever, but they made this. So thank you, genuinely. Yeah, my heart's full when I have a guitar in my hand, and especially this one here, Frank the guitar. It's been a long time coming. I've used that phrase quite a bit recently, talking about guitars, talking about Frank the guitar specifically, and it really has, for myself personally, over 2 years now, having guitars on and off, having up to 6 at a time, and lots of money, lots of time, so many sets of strings, so many things that have gone into what it means for me, Evan Strong, to approach playing guitars and understand what guitars are and what they mean to me. So it's a whole thing. I mean, it's not just a hobby. It's not just some kind of thing that I, take some classes with here and there. And I'm not saying if anybody else's experiences are like that, then that's wrong. But for me, it's part of me, and it really is. Whether that means that I go months without playing at all, or whether that means that like I'm spending hours day after day playing, regardless, yeah, it's a part of me. Guitar, this instrument that has been around for so long, and it doesn't seem like it, and that's how I really know. It's like how a lot of times, people who are in a really good, healthy relationship, they're like, yeah, I never would have imagined myself dating this person, but then they're so good together, or somebody gets a career that they're like, I never could have seen myself doing this, but now I couldn't see myself doing anything else. That's how this is for me, and that's how I know it's such a, it's like a bond. It's like having a dog that you just love, and the dog loves you. Frank the guitar does a lot for me. It's not just about me being a good guitarist only. I am, but I can't do what I can do without having a guitar that works for me. as far as like it's actually doing work to benefit me. It really is. And that's something that I want to be able to help people understand so that they can get to that type of relationship with, yes, an inanimate object, a piece of wood, basically is all that it is, with some strings on it, mostly, right? But there really is a level of relationship that I do have with Frank the guitar, and it builds. And as strange as that might seem to whoever thinks it's weird, it's something that's undeniable when you see how I play and how I do approach making music through specifically this guitar here, Frank the guitar. So, not to say that there couldn't be a better guitar out there, or that, you know, whatever, and who knows how long I'll actually have this. I say I'll probably have them for quite a long time, and probably, but whatever does happen, just guitars and me, there's a bond there. So, and yeah, special place in my heart for this. A lot of gratitude. So much. So okay, yeah. Anyway, so I guess I'm gonna just kind of cut it out right there, wrap it up. But it is funny. I know there's certain musicians that I've seen that they, you know, they have an instrument that they've had for a long time, and it doesn't seem like something that a professional musician would use, and so that's why I do want to put the focus on this specific guitar, regardless of how long I do have it. Just the amount of impact that it has had on me, and what it means to be where I am and play guitar at all. And yeah, I could have until the day that I die, but I also have no idea. So this really is the guitar that like did it for me, if you will. I've had a lot of guitars, and a lot of them taught me a lot of different things, but this is like, no other guitar that I've had has had a name, you know? I mean, I understand it's a guitar. It's a monetary, well, it's just something that cost monetary value, something that's just, you know, a materialistic thing. It's just an inanimate object, but there really is a place in my heart for this. And I mean, I could sit here and just talk about it just as real as it is for quite some time. Because that's really what creates a good musician, in the sense of somebody who makes music you actually want to listen to, is somebody who really feels it, somebody who's really in tune and intact with their guitar. Intact is a cool word to use, because that's how I feel. I feel like I'm almost tacked to the guitar, as if like I'm like built in with it, and vice versa. So yeah, a lot of gratitude. I love how casual. This is how I know that things are just so rooted within me, and actually just really what they are, and I'm not trying to like have it be anything. Is when it's just like, yeah, I don't know, have I even cut the video yet? Am I just sitting here still, you know? Just like, just so real, so chill. So Frank the guitar, man, I really do feel like I actually should say that I'm gonna be, not for the sake of recognition, but for the sake of really what I do with guitars, I'm gonna be a name that people will know when it comes to guitarists. And I don't care for the recognition, but it's part of me. And it's something that always will be. So, yeah, Frank the guitar. Like, look at this comfort. Look at the size, right? I'm just sitting here talking. Oh, now I'm playing guitar. Half-sized guitars. I'll say that till the day I die. They're the ideal size. It's rare for me to have this level of comfort with content like this, because I'm doing this in no way for any kind of like reason. I'm just doing this, and here we are. And I love this feeling, and that's why I love the fact that I get to share these videos. The gift of video, as I say so often, the internet, as much as it's this double bind where I don't like the internet in a lot of ways, it's so amazing to be able to share things like this across the whole earth with every human that could ever come in contact with this. So, Frank the guitar. I mean, I can imagine it being X amount of time down the road and I'm like a well-known guitarist. And I'm looking back on this video personally. I'm sitting there wherever I am and I pull up this video and watch it and I'm like, wow, yeah. Because some things we just know. So I think that's a big thing, is hold on to it. If you're somebody and you know you're supposed to do something, but it seems like it's hard, or it seems like, well, I don't even know why I would do that, or why I'd be saying that. Like me saying I'm going to be a professional guitarist and really, really good. I don't know why I'm saying it, other than I know it's going to happen, meaning it's not me trying to make that be the case. I think this video is going to be huge for all of us to realize we need to hold on to those feelings that get placed inside of us, because our God gives us a certain level of foreshadowing, a certain level of precursor and knowledge before things happen of what will happen, and then they do. And so if there's something that you just know inside you that you will do, or that you are good at, even if you don't even know yet that you are, because maybe you haven't even done it, but you can just feel that you are before you try something, hold on to that, because we get those feelings for a reason. And there are things in life that are just absolutely undeniable to ourselves and then other people as well. Doesn't necessarily matter if anyone agrees with what we do or not, but it is undeniable from within and from external eyes and views, those things that just mesh with us, that we're actually placed here to do, that we couldn't put aside permanently even if we wanted to, because there would always be like a hole where those things are meant to be. And that's what playing acoustic guitar is for me. Nylon strings. Crazy things with nylon strings. I was always saying at the very start when I first got my Cordoba C5 CE, is my first nylon string guitar that I had. And from that point, I knew not only am I playing guitar forever, but I mesh with nylon strings. And already it's undeniable. So I don't know how big that's going to be as far as impact wise, but I know it's going to be to a level that I couldn't expect at this time. And just for positive benefits, for helping everybody in the ways that I do. Just me being Evan Strong, the guy who is placed here to have one of the main things he does on this earth be play guitars. Yeah, I couldn't deny it if I wanted, because I tried to. So you can check out In the Image Clothing Company podcast if you'd like. There's a lot that I discuss on there as far as the gospel of Jesus Christ and many things in my life that I've tried to deny and I can't, no matter what, because we are placed here to do certain things. We actually do have a plan that's given to us for our own specific journey when we do come here to this earth to just have our experience that we do. And at this point in my life, I'm currently 25 years old. it's when I'm actually starting to really take all the experience and knowledge that I've gained up until this point and really now kind of like nestle in to where I'm supposed to be from this point forward and leading through the things that I do. And here I am. And this is one of those things, and a major part of my life, playing guitar. And a lot will come with that more than just producing music. So, and a lot already has. Immense gratitude. And that's where I gotta sit. That's where we need to dwell as human beings, is really taking time to just kneel, even if it's not literally kneeling, but just, putting ourselves before our God and realizing really what he's doing and what he has done. And that's something that we could never do too much of, and we could never be too sure to make sure we take time out and take our attention from wherever it could be and place it onto the gratitude that we do have for what we have been given, that we don't really realize sometimes is happening. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's amazing. So, thank you. There we go. Like I said, Evan Strong, Frank the guitar, In the Image Clothing Company music. Today's the 9th of February, 2025. Big things to come. Not because I'm saying, but they will. So,